I rolled up, I just gardened, and it's time to watch some reality TV. On this video, we'll be talking about the Real Housewives of Melbourne. So I randomly found this on Peacock one day when they decided to release Vancouver, Toronto, and Melbourne, but they only had 2 seasons up for Melbourne. And I was really interested. I was going to watch that and then watch the Vancouver one next. So then I started watching the first season, and it felt like a satire of the Housewives franchise. Like that TV show on Hulu called The Housewives of Orlando. It's basically like a parody of Housewives. It's freaking hilarious. You should go check it out. Or maybe it's just how it's shot and like the pacing of the show, because it may be different because it's in another country. But nonetheless, it's very entertaining, and I have no one else to talk to about this. So let's get to it. So we start the season out meeting Lydia. I'm assuming she's the anchor of the group since she's the first one we're introduced to. She is a mother of 3. Her youngest lives with her. She recently got married to a renowned architect named Andrew. He had 3 kids, dubbed, I think, a previous marriage. She's studying to be a interior designer. Next scene, we see Lydia going to lunch and meeting 2 friends, and that's when we meet Gina and Andrea. Gina is a mother of 2 boys, 16 and 23, and she likes to say she parents like an Italian mom with fear and guilt. We learn that she is a barrister. Gina herself is very glamorous, and she considers herself the ultimate drag queen. I mean, she dresses like one, not to be mean, but she does dress like one. She's got the big gaudy hair. She wears lots of makeup, and her wardrobe is very glitzy, glam, shiny, bright, shimmery things. She has 2 sisters who are prominent fashion designers in the fashion world. And she said she started out in fashion, but then she decided to pursue becoming a lawyer. She has a long-term boyfriend, but recently moved to the U.S. for 6 months, which is crazy, because isn't there a big time difference with them being on that side of on the globe? That's crazy. And then we meet Andrea. She lives in Turok. She loves Turok. She's all about Turok. She says it's the 90210 of Melbourne. So I guess it's another super high-end rich area. She's married to a plastic surgeon. I think his name is Steve. I could be wrong. But she's married to a plastic surgeon. She calls him Mossy. She owns her own skincare center business called Liberty Bell. She has a lot of high-end clients. She's a mother of 3 young kids. And because her husband obviously is busy with his practice, and then she's busy with her business, she has 5 nannies on reserve for whatever task she needs them to do. So they work during the week, and then they try to get off on the weekends to hang out with the kids and go to their second home, whatnot. And she also used to be a tennis coach. So they have a tennis court, I think, in the backyard of one of their summer homes. Next, we're introduced to Janet. I think she's the oldest one of the group. So she goes to her hairdresser 3 to 4 times a week. Apparently, she doesn't do her hair. The guy she's been going to for 22 years does her hair for whatever needs she needs it for. She is a mother of 2 adult children. I think they don't live with her. She lives in a boutique hotel during the week, and then she has a second property in a place called Red Hill. She goes on the weekends, very fancy. She's a property developer, and she says she's been married twice. And for her second marriage, she just recently divorced. She was with him for 14 years, and she gave him one more chance, and if he cheated again, she was out, and she was out. So then we see her and Andrea go to lunch, and we see that those 2 are friends, or at least Andrea is connected to Janet that way. Andrea invites Janet to her launch party, and then Janet lets her know that she's seeing a sidekick, which is interesting because I feel like sidekicks, I don't believe in sidekicks 100%. I feel like most of the time they are kind of scamming the rich. But since she just recently got divorced and she wants some guidance on, I guess, her second divorce and being single again and possibly finding somebody else, because she is looking for husband number 3. Obviously, Andrea is a little skeptical of the sidekick, but nonetheless, she's supporting her friend because maybe it'll give her some direction post-divorce. Then we meet the sidekick that Janet is seeing, Jackie. Jackie said she was born in Croatia. She grew up in Newcastle, and then she just recently moved to Melbourne with her husband, who apparently is a rock star, was in a big band named Silverchair, and now he's in a new band named Bendo. They've been together for 3 years, or they've been married for 3 years, and she thinks he looks like Johnny Depp. I mean, I think he looks more like Laszlo from What We Do in the Shadows, but I digress. Jackie is new to, I guess, Melbourne society and feels like she'll be judged because she's a sidekick, and a lot of people are very skeptical about that, obviously. So the next scene, we see that she takes Janet as her first Melbourne client. They are over at Jackie's house to do her first reading session, and hmm, hmm. That reading session was definitely interesting. I mean, some information spooked Janet because she feels like because she switched to her maiden name, there wasn't much information to look her up on. If you believe it, you will achieve it. So they have their session, and then afterwards of Janet being happy from what she heard from Jackie, they go into the kitchen and they pop a bottle and they have a chat. So then Janet invites Jackie to Andrea's launch party so she can meet the other ladies. Obviously, she's hesitant on going because of the stigma about being a sidekick. While they're having this conversation, there's a moon man on their kitchen counter. I don't know if it's like a what specific MTV award it is, but when we first see Jackie, she's interviewing for a new housekeeper, and she says, "Oh, my husband's in a band named Silverchair," and the housekeeper act like she didn't know who the fuck that was. But they do have MTV awards, so I'm assuming there's some type of notoriety. I mean, he got money, and they don't have a prenup. We'll get into that later. So then the last person to invite to Andrea's launch party is Chica. So Chica apparently is the social queen of Melbourne. Um, she's been happily married for 23 years, and she met her husband Bruce when she was 20. I don't know how old he was, but she said when she was 20, she met Bruce, and they've been happily married since. They have 3 businesses together. They have the Big Group, which is a catering and event management company, the Design Depot, which is events and hiring company, and then Capital Kitchen, which is their retail cafe chain. So they have 3 successful businesses that they've been running, I guess, the entirety of their marriage. And that's amazing. I don't think I've ever heard that, especially 23 years and still happily together. Listen, that's very rare. So hold on to that, Chica. Chica's first scene is with her husband, and they go over different business events that they need to go to for their company and whatnot. And you can really tell it's a loving marriage, which is really nice to see. They both have 2 daughters. Oh no, they have 2 kids together. The daughter lives in New York, and their son lives with them. Bruce tries to find a work-life balance between them because obviously they're business partners. So most of the time when they see each other, it's about business. But he wants to, wine and dine her and take her out to different places. But it's hard with her busy ass schedule. So as the rest of the ladies get ready for the party, we see them starting to arrive. Lydia and Gina arrive together. Chica arrives by herself, and Janet. Oh no! First, Lydia and Gina arrive together. Then Chica comes, and right before Janet and Jackie arrive, we start to see Lydia not just Lydia, but there's already judgment about Jackie. Everyone is drinking, having a good time. Andrea makes her big speech about her new technology for Liberty Bell, and then they make a big donation, rich people shit, yada yada yada. After the event, Lydia invites all the ladies to dinner. So they get in a limo. On the way there, we see Gina asking about getting to know Jackie a little bit more and asking about her, I guess, what she does for a living. So as Jackie's talking about what she does, obviously there's some hesitation from Gina because she's a lawyer. She thinks more rationally. She said she deals in fact. So clearly there's already tension between her and Jackie, especially with her being a sidekick and all. So the ladies settle into the restaurant, and they're still grilling Jackie about what she does. She said that her husband never made her sign a prenup, and he's a rock star. So that's interesting. I feel like any type of celebrity, not celebrity, any type of person with a business needs to have a prenup prior to the relationship. I don't remember them expressing how long they've been together, but like I said, they've been married for 3 years. But it'd be in her best interest, probably in his more likely, if she did sign the prenup. But hey, if you don't feel like pressuring your person to do that, that's perfectly fine. Lydia shares that her and her husband Andrew have a conjugal agreement to keep things spicy, which I feel is just a vanilla version of saying you have a 50 Shades of Grey contract. After that, then we get to Janet, and she shares how she caught her husband cheating through the credit card bills. He kept buying Viagra. She's trying to figure out why he buying all this goddamn Viagra. But then she goes in his laptop and she finds out he has all these dating profiles. And she was like, yeah, absolutely not. You're not about to rack my credit card bill up with Viagra so you can go fuck other bitches. So the ladies continue chatting, eating and drinking. Jackie asking Gina about her love life and where her boyfriend is. And she lets her know that he's all the way in America. And then Gina teases her by asking if she can predict the future of her relationship. But Jackie tells her that you're not ready to hear this, darling. Are you sure you want to hear this? It's like she was trying to she was like poking the bear almost, basically like, hey, if you think you're all this, then, show me. Tell me what my future is. Then after being poked for so long, Jackie's just like, well, you're going to dump him. You're going to dump his ass quickly. And it's actually going to happen in the next 4 to 6 months. So buckle up. And then Gina's like, so what was it? No, Gina asked what the circumstances was. She was like, well, you're getting tired of it. You're getting tired of his BS that he's telling you over the phone. So get ready for the breakup soon. So obviously the whole table erupts because why are you telling someone that they're about to break up in like 4 to 6 months? That's ridiculous. And then Gina's like, oh, really? So who's telling you this? And she was like, oh, well, I'm getting this from your grandmother. Your grandmother is telling you this. What? I just met you. Now you're telling me my dead grandma is letting you know that my relationship is ending in like 2.5 seconds. And then after she says, oh, your grandmother's telling me this, she says she looks after someone named Anita. Gina then lets the table know that that's her mother's name. So now she's super spooked, like, whoa. First of all, I don't even know you. Why are you bringing up my family's name, my grandmother? This is too much. But Gina just laughs it off, and that kind of irritates Jackie a little bit. So then Jackie just throws out there, hey, someone at this table's husband having a partner is having an affair. I don't know who, but someone's having an affair at this table. So Gina obviously laughing it off. She's like, oh, really? Who do you think it is? Are you trying to talk about me because I'm the one with the long distance relationship? Are you talking about me? So she keeps pressing Jackie. And then Jackie's just like, Jackie responds to asking her, well, what do you think? And Gina says, yes. And then she's like, well, there you have it. It's like, why would you answer yes to that? Like, obviously these women are drunk. They've been drinking all night. First of all, they walked into the fucking event. It was handed a drink. And then obviously you can see at the table that they've had like multiple glasses of wine or whatever. So I don't know why you poking the bear and then you answer her question with a yes. So you already have an inkling he might be cheating and you don't believe what he's telling you. Why are you letting this sidekick predict this for you? Like, it don't make no sense. But she's laughing it off. Well, she did laugh it off. And once she said that, you could visibly tell that Gina got angry. So Chica tries to have a follow-up question because the entire table is just shook by this whole conversation. And then Gina just shuts her down. She's like, you know what? She was like, you know what? I'm done with this conversation. I'm done. It's time to go. She was ready to leave that table immediately. But like, clearly you have suspicions of him cheating, or at least suspicions of him talking to other women. So it's like, if he was going to go to the U.S. and you weren't going to go with him, why did you stay in this relationship? I understand he's a longtime boyfriend, but what would be the need for him to go to the U.S.? I don't think she mentioned what he did. So that didn't make sense to me, but he moved to the U.S. for work. And you don't think he's an Australian, I don't know what he looks like, but he's an Australian man with an accent. White women over there are going to fawn for him. I think she should break up with him. I don't know about 4 to 6 months. And I don't think she should have told her business to that random lady she just met. Well, not randomly, it's Jackie. But this is, I'm a new person in my life. I don't know who you are. You're not telling me that I'm not going to be in a relationship. Mind you, she's in a 3-year marriage. So it's like, who are you to tell me about my relationship? Hi, I'm back from my week-long cruise. And because I went from the Caribbean warmer sun to now the cold New Jersey air, I feel like shit thanks to my seasonal allergies. So now I'm congested and my throat is bothering me. So I apologize for the way that I sound. But nonetheless, let's get into the second episode. So the first scene, we watch Lydia and her stepson go clothes shopping, I guess, and her stepson looks just like his dad. As she picks out different clothes, she lets her stepson know, hey, let your father know, this is what I like, this is what I like, this is what I like, yada, yada, yada. Like, if he's gonna even remember the store that he walked into. She does make a joke about her stepson's attractiveness, which was kind of off putting, but she's supposed to be the promiscuous one of the group, so. The way she was yelling Christine this whole scene was also insane. Like, if I heard her scream Christine one more time, I would lose my mind. Sorry to all Christines out there. So the next scene, we see Gina go shopping because she has decided she wants to go visit her boyfriend in America. So obviously this feels like a last minute ditch effort to try and reconcile with whatever is left of her relationship. So she does let us know that she called her boyfriend after the crazy dinner to let him know everything that happened, and that he was very upset about what she told him, what Jackie said about him, right? About, oh, your man is doing whatever out there in America. So he's very upset about everything that happened, but she never asked him if he's been unfaithful because apparently she already knows the answer. Of course you know the answer because you already said it last night, right? You already answered your own question last night. Listen, drunk mind speaks sober thoughts. So if you think he cheating, then that's already the answer. You don't need to ask him something you already know. But you just want the audience to think that, oh, I didn't ask him, so he's not unfaithful. Really, you think he's unfaithful. That's why you answered the question. So while Gina is shopping for her trip to the Americas or the States, Lydia gives her a call to check on her after the dinner, obviously, because that was a whole mess. So Gina tells her that she's going to the States to visit her boyfriend, and Lydia's like, oh, are you running after your man because you're insecure about your relationship? Which, I mean, obviously, yeah, but I feel like there was a better way to say that. I mean, this is Melbourne in Australia, so I'm sure the way that they speak is different and they're very more straightforward. But I feel like that was still a better way to ask her that, to just outright be like, oh, you're very insecure about your relationship. So while they're talking, she's asking her, well, do you believe any of what happened? And Gina says that she doesn't believe anything that Jackie has said because she feels like she didn't have to ask her boyfriend anything about being unfaithful. So she feels like she has her answer. So she's not going to believe, obviously, the person that told her, that basically like walked her through her own answer. So she's like, no, I'm not to believe anything, which is not great because obviously in Jackie's line of work, be what in order to be a psychic, you have to believe what you're doing, or at least believe what you're saying. So the fact that she doesn't believe her is definitely going to be a point of contention later on. And since we were talking about Jackie, the next scene is her and her husband jamming out to the radio on their way to visit a mixologist for their new liquor brand. They wanted to get some more information about, I guess, the alcohol business in general. I think as a mixologist, to know certain brands of tequila or different spirits in general, not just tequila, but to know, being a mixologist is to know different spirits and how they work with different flavors and stuff like that. So I guess they know a guy who knows a guy who's a mixologist to get more information so they can, build the business. But Jackie seems hell bent on tequila, even though that the mixologist is recommending to do vodka, since that's where the market is going towards more, is more vodka brands. But funny enough, I don't know when this was. I think this might be 2013, which is funny because around that time vodka was a big thing, like Ciroc and Grey Goose. It was very big vodka, and it's funny because now tequila is a thing. So I really hope that she still has a tequila brand because I feel like it'd pop off right now. Tequila is really big. So while the mixologist is doing a terrible job of convincing Jackie to do vodka, Ben is suggesting that they should do vodka because he's looking at it from more of a business perspective, right? Like, it's better if we should do vodka now because that's where the market is being pushed. But because Ben is a pushover and he loves Jackie, they are going to do a tequila brand. So let's see how this works out. So after that, we see Jackie meeting up with Lydia at a nice art gallery. I think she said it's one of her favorite art galleries, just so that they can spend more time together and get to know each other. And so obviously with Jackie's line of work, the first thing that she does is she gets a reading, right? So she's predicting Lydia's future about her having another baby, which they have like 6 kids together. And I think all their kids are either in school already or grown and gone. So I'm sure they don't want no kids anytime soon. But that's funny because she was like, you're going to have another boy with curly hair. Lydia's like, yeah, no, we're done with kids. We're good with that. But thanks for the reading, babes. So then Jackie gets Lydia advice on buying, I guess, a big plane or an expensive thing. Jackie wants Ben to buy her a plane. I don't know why. Like a seaplane, I think she said. She wants a seaplane. But Lydia has a private jet, so I think you're talking to the wrong person. Because then she's like, oh, I'm on Planet Torque with all these private jets. I mean, girl, why are you talking to her about a plane? That's the only plane that she has. So after they get to know each other a little bit in that weird conversation, they obviously go towards the topic of Gina and the dinner the night before. Lydia tells Jackie about what Gina said and how she doesn't believe her. And obviously that doesn't rub Jackie the right way because she needs people to believe in what she does in order for her business to be successful. So as they're recounting the night, Jackie asks Lydia about what happened because she's like, oh, when I do my readings, I don't remember what happens or what I say, even though like once she's like, oh, like recounting their night, then she's like, oh yeah, I remember. It's like, okay, do you remember or don't you remember? Or you need someone to tell you and then you remember? I feel like that's weird. If you're a psychic, you should already know. Because, like, whatever you get your readings and, like, I guess whoever's you're being channeled from or whoever's channeling you, you remember what you would say. Because if people come back to you and feel like they have, like, bad luck or they had a bad reading, they're going to expect you to remember what you said. And then maybe the topic of, like, recording would be weird. But I feel like you have to consent to that so that you remember what happened. But I digress. Then Lydia tells her about Gina. Well, Lydia tells Jackie about Gina's plans of going to visit her boyfriend, and Jackie kind of like laughs about it a little bit, kind of like, "Oh, I told you so." Almost like the fact that I had read or predicted that possibly he could be cheating, and then you're running out to figure out if he's cheating. Like, I told you so. She tells her that like Gina said that her boyfriend wasn't happy with the reading and was upset about what you said and the fact that they don't believe you, and now she's upset because obviously not only is the boyfriend upset about what you said, but also now that I've read something to you or I've channeled the angels and the spirits about your future, all of a sudden now you don't believe it because it's not what you want to hear. It is the person's decision if they want to believe it or not. I mean, is it going to happen? Who knows? If it does happen, then maybe the person has like some type of intuition. Because I feel like I have my intuition when I'm going to be right. I'm like 90% right. That 10%, I'll admit when I'm wrong. But I'm like 90% right about the intuition. So, like, if you're going to believe it, believe it. If not, we'll see how it happens for you. Because Gina is a barrister, Lydia tells Jackie to expect a long email from Gina about the situation to try and hash it out. But Jackie would rather do it face to face. So she was like, listen, if she wants to talk to me about something, call me so that we can set up something and do it face to face versus you send me this long drawn out email about how you feel. And it's like, how am I supposed to yeah, the words, but I'm not gonna see your emotions and your feelings, which I understand. If you wanna have some type of conflict resolution, I'm gonna want to see you in person so I can see your feelings and what you mean behind your words versus like me trying to decipher what you mean behind your words behind the screen. Next, we see Andrea getting ready for work. Her and Mosey, I think it is. Her and Mosey getting ready for work. The nanny has a checklist that is required to complete while they are at work. Because obviously she wants to make sure not only is her kids on a consistent schedule, but that the nanny is on the same schedule to keep it straight so that there's no like dip in the consistency of the children's lives, which I understand. Consistency for a child is very important. So she wants to make sure that her nannies are on that same strict schedule. I mean, it's crazy, especially when you have 5 nannies and you have like a list of 30 things for them to do, but whatever. You have the money, ball out. I mean, she has 3 kids under 10, so I'm sure it's not easy to deal with, especially with her husband having a practice, her having her own beauty spa lab practice. I'm sure it's a lot for them to do. Then we see Chica meeting up with the head of her marketing, Brenda. They're going over some details about an upcoming event to showcase this beautiful iconic ballroom in Melbourne called Mural Hall. Apparently, her catering group is now in charge, I guess, for like the advertising of it, or is able to like host events there now. So now that they're in charge of hosting all the events, like I guess like the sole contractor for hosting events and stuff like that, she has to now like introduce her clientele to said iconic ballroom. So next we see Jackie and Ben at home discussing, I guess, her outing with Lydia and everything, the information that she was told. And Jackie tells Ben, oh, now Lydia jetted off after I did her reading. She jetted off to see her boyfriend because I told her so. Well, not told her so, but like I told her information, and now she's insecure about the situation. So they joke around about her age or something like that. It's kind of insensitive. But Jackie expresses that she's now offended because of the fact that Gina doesn't believe her, which I understand. So Ben defends her wife, basically is like, listen, obviously someone like Gina is not ready for a big personality like you with this special gift that you have. So if she's not on board with you, then don't pay her no mind, which I agree, because you're not going to force someone to like you if they don't like you. If they're not going to believe you, then I feel like you should just ignore them. But for the sake of the show, you got to be friends. So the next scene, we see Chica and Janet go to the jewelry store because Janet, who got a reading from Jackie, she told her to sell her jewelry or sell like pieces of important jewelry or whatever. So Janet decided to go to the jewelry store to sell her, I don't know if it's engagement or wedding band or both, probably. Anything to do with her last husband, she's going to sell to get rid of all the bad energy and to bring in new energy for new men. So she's there trying to sell the jewelry, but the jeweler's like, we could burn it down and just turn it into a new piece of jewelry, I guess, to like burn away the negative energy. So that, I feel like symbolically that's a better option, right? So you don't have to like completely buy a whole new, because if you sell it, it could be valued less. But if you keep it, you don't have to like worry about the valuation and the repurchase or something else, because it could be less than what he said, because men be lying. So the jeweler lets Jackie Chica come to his back office to kind of have like a burning ceremony to let Janet burn the jewelry and burn it down to turn it into something different and put diamonds in it, which is nice. Diamonds are girl best friend, so why not put some new diamonds on it on your own dime? Because you could buy your own diamonds, bitch. So now it's time for an event that Chica is doing just for the ladies so that she could let them know about Mural Hall and her new, I guess, contract with the ballroom. So Chica sends a limo to pick up Lydia, Jackie, Andrea, and Janet. And then obviously Gina can't go because she's in the States now. So this lunch or whatever is about to be all about Gina since she's not there. So once they arrive and Chica gives them the tour, this is Mural Hall. We'll be doing more events here. Da, 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 da. They all sit down for lunch to, I guess, try out the food as well, since I feel like ballrooms or catering halls also, cater for the food. So they're trying the food there as well for lunch. And Chica's like, "Where's Gina?" Because I feel like, I guess Gina didn't tell the whole group. Gina just told Lydia, which is interesting. So Lydia lets everyone know Gina's not coming. Jackie expresses her sides of things and that she's upset that Gina, I guess, behind her back was like offended or not believing about what she said. And Janet is being inquisitive and is like, "Who told you this information? Like, how do you know that Gina doesn't like da da da?" And so at first Jackie's like, I'm not telling, but then she ended up saying like, well, she was sitting next to Lydia, right? And I think Janet was like on this side. So Janet was like, "Who told you? Who told you?" And then Jackie was like, "I mean, well, you told me." And it's like, well, damn. I mean, listen, if you gonna be the bone collector, you be prepared for your name to be brought up for said bone. After Jackie tells the table that Lydia was the one to spill, she was, what was it? She tells Lydia, "Well, you said that she didn't like me." So, and the whole day was like, when did Gina say she didn't like you? Because they're trying to figure out what's going on. Obviously, with all the scenes that's happening, Gina hasn't told shit to no one but Lydia. So Lydia is here with all this information and is trying to be like this, but you're the one that's able to spread this information because Gina's only telling you. So you're going to have to be the one to tell the group. And she's trying to be like, "Oh, well, it's not my information to tell." Mind you, Gina is not even in the country. So you are going to have to be the one to tell tell her tea, because she's not even here to tell the tea herself. So we're trying to figure out what the fuck going on. And you're the only one that knows. So spill it, bitch. So after Lydia gets the finger pointed at her, she tries to set the record straight and basically is like, she has concerns that Gina is not handling the long distance relationship well, and that what Jackie said struck a nerve, obviously, because that's why she went out to the States. Chica doesn't agree with what or not with what, but Chica doesn't agree with how Lydia is like, I guess, telling the group, because if you really think about it, Jackie kind of put her up against the wall to be like, well, you said she don't like me, and everyone's like, what? But Chica's like, yeah, I don't like that you're spilling her tea, because she's not here to spill her tea. Instead of you like, oh well, this is what she's saying, this is what she told me, da, da, da. You should be like, well, Gina should speak for herself when she gets here, which I understand, and Chica's real for that. But Andrea, on the other hand, she feels like, well, if someone is talking about me behind my back, I need to know, regardless of how it's coming across or who said what. If you are loyal to me, or you are supposed to be my friend, and you hear something that someone else is saying about me, I feel like you should come to me and be like, this person is saying something about you. So Chica agrees. Oh, Chica doesn't agree with what Lydia's doing and how she's spilling the beans. Andrea, on the other hand, is like, girl, I'm backing you up. I believe that you should be telling us, because we have the right to know if someone's talking about us behind our backs. Obviously, with her ability in question, Jackie doubles down on not making any of her readings up and saying that she gets it from the angels or whatever spirits that come in her to do her readings. So after that heavy conversation from the disastrous dinner, to lighten the mood a bit, Chica asked Janet about her dating life, and the woman gab a little bit about getting Botox and her sex life. And then Chica's husband comes in for a visit to meet all the ladies. Lydia suggests that Janet should build a roster of men before falling into another marriage again, which I agree, because I definitely feel like if you get out of one relationship, you shouldn't jump into another one. You should give yourself time to explore your options, definitely, but also like figure out who you are after that relationship, because a marriage, definitely a marriage for like 10 plus years, you are a different person. I think it's the thing is like you change every 7 years. So like you are definitely not the same person when you first got married. You're going to take your time, relearn who you are after the marriage and what you learned from said marriage and what you want to bring into your next relationship possibly. But definitely like, have a little roster, have a sample of this one, sample of that one, sample, sample, sample. So after Chica's husband Bruce leaves the table, then Jackie invites all of the women to her housewarming party, because I think at the start of the show she just moved to Melbourne, so her and her husband are in a new house, and she's like, "I'm inviting everybody to our housewarming." So just as like an olive branch to everybody in the group, so we can start building a friendship. So after their lunch, then we go to Jackie's house. She has her friend Henry, who designed her wedding dress, over for a chat with some champagne. And this is the first time we hear her say shine, 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 which we do hear her say in her tagline, but this is the first time we actually hear her in the show say it, and this will not be the last. So she gives the rundown on the group drama. He helps her put on the wedding dress and prepare for her vow renewal with Ben. Apparently, ever since they got married, they decided to do it every year, which I feel like you should do it at milestone moments of your marriage, but everybody's marriage is different. But on the other hand, Ben feels they should wait on doing their vow renewal, because they have so much on their hands. Obviously, with the housewarming, they just moved in. Jackie wants to start a tequila business, so he wants to and buy a seaplane. So he wants to pump their brakes. He's like, I understand you want to do all this, but I think their anniversary is coming up around the corner. He's like, to do a vow renewal would be a lot right now, so let's just hold off on it. Next week, we see that Gina's back. She comes home, she greets her dog. My real question is, what do her sons think about this? Because does she have two sons that's in high school that still live with her? And she just jetted off to the States? I mean, I guess her boyfriend is not her father, so I guess they stay with their father. But I mean, if you got it like that, why not, right? So Gina's back, and she's a bit sad about her boyfriend, because when she went to visit him, he was being a bit distant, and he was expressing wanting to be together forever, but Gina doesn't know how long she could take, the distance with his job, which I wonder how he presented this to her about him going to the States, because I'm like, you have a new job where you have to go to America. which is like a whole continent away from your girlfriend. But for how long? Was this supposed to be a temporary thing, like a few months? Or was this like, I work here now, this is where I live? Because if that's the case, then you should just, if you want to be with him forever, then you should go move to America with him. But clearly, if you don't, it needs to be severed. And this whole scene felt like she was breaking up with him, maybe. We'll see. We then see her get back to work as a barrister and chat with some coworkers about some upcoming cases and stuff like that. So now that Gina is back, Jackie's contemplating on whether or not she wants to invite Gina to the housewarming after everything that happened. So she's talking about it with Ben, going over it. But then she decides to at least invite her for coffee for a one-on-one, just to hash things out before the party so that there's no, tension or argument for her housewarming. So everything's chill vibes, I guess. Oh, this is also what we find out that Gina went to Miami. So I don't know why I was thinking when he said he goes to the States for work, it was in New York. Because I feel like a lot of businesses are like stationed out of like major cities. So it'd be like New York, Chicago, DC, maybe even because of that's the capital. But Miami's interesting. I wonder what he does, why he's in Miami. Girl, he might be cheating. In Miami? Then we see Jackie and Gina meet up for coffee. So as they sit down, Jackie cuts right to the chase and asks if Gina said that she doesn't believe her, right? And Gina's like, no, I don't believe you. And Jackie lets her know that, like, I heard from Lydia that you were talking, that basically you were saying how you don't believe me and that your boyfriend was upset and all of this. And Lydia was about to tell me, yada, yada, yada. We get into what was said at the reading, and Jackie was like, well, this is what I got from your grandmother. Your grandmother told me this. So the spirit of your grandmother told me this. And then Gina's like, well, I don't think it was my grandmother. It was actually a demon. It was a demon you spoke to and not my grandmother. And so Jackie gets really upset because she states that she gets her readings from angels and not demons. So obviously with the Christianity mindset of like angels being good, demons being bad, she starts crying, gets upset. Gina's is looking at this from like a debating standpoint. It's like she's still, she's a barrister. So like she's thinking of this as if she's in the courtroom and winning a case. So she was like, yeah, I usually stop when they cry, which is insane because this is not a case. This is somebody's feelings and livelihood that you're kind of messing with here. So, I mean, she's a little callous about it, but hey. So after that, I think, Jackie storms off and it doesn't end well, but Gina still ends up going to the housewarming party as we see in the preview for the next episode. Okay, so we start episode 3 with Janet going to Andrea's skin center for some Botox, and she decides to bring Jackie along, not for some Botox, but just to see the process of it all, I guess. We also see her husband, Mossy, who's the one administering the shots, so he can get his little advertisement. So Jackie's sitting there watching Janet getting poked and prodded, and she gets freaked out by it. I mean, who wants to sit there and watch someone get poked and prodded? Like, you literally just see them like, it's okay. So after Janet gets her treatment, Jackie then spills the tea about her sit down with Gina and basically how she's like, Gina's trying to tell her side of things and saying that Lydia's lying about what was said versus, I guess, the intent, not the intention, but the reasoning of what was said, if that makes sense. As Jackie's telling her all this is the first time Janet is hearing that Gina is back in the States. So apparently she's not telling everybody, at least the group, for the sake of filming, is not telling everybody that she's back, which is weird. Like I said, for the sake of filming. Jackie tells Janet that Gina said that she is channeling demonic spirits. And so now, feeling like obviously there's some animosity, some tension, Janet's like, well, you think she's coming to the housewarming? Even though, like, she was like, what is it? Jackie's like, I'm still giving her a second chance, so I'm still gonna invite her to the party. She's like, you think she's gonna come? I don't think that she's gonna come with how they left things, but we'll see. Next, we see Andrea and Lydia going shopping for a gift for the housewarming party. And then I think Lydia was trying to get Andrea to like take some time off because of her busy schedule. And it's like, hey, I have this home in Threadbow where her and her husband go and ski a lot. Want to come ski with me? And then she suggested bring Jackie as well. So I think, Lydia, Andrea, Jackie are going to go ski in Threadbow. And let's see how that works out. Lydia then tells Andrea about obviously her being in school for interior design and that Gina has let her kind of use her new apartment as to get some experience for interior designing. So she's like, Gina's allowing her to basically redo her whole new apartment, which is nice. Speaking of new apartment, the next scene we see Lydia meeting up with Gina in the display version of the apartment, I guess because her new apartment is not ready yet, or she doesn't. I guess she just wants her to see what it would look like versus like going to said apartment. And we learned actually this is going to be an apartment for just her sons. I guess I thought it was going to be her own apartment. So I guess this is going to be a bachelor pad, which lucky them, because if they said they're in school. Now they didn't say it was high school versus college. So if she is getting her sons their own apartment, I'm assuming they're in college. I guess so. That's pretty awesome. So after they walk around and discuss design options, they sit down and talk about Gina sit down with Jackie and how that went. She's confronting Lydia, saying that, "Oh, you told her." I said, "I didn't believe you." Even though in the moment she's like, "I don't believe everything she says," but she has some credibility. So she was trying to say like, "I don't believe what she was saying about my situation," but she might have some credibility as a psychic. Regardless, she said the words, "I don't believe everything she said." And yes, she did say that. So I mean, she has to own up to that part. But she's trying to backtrack and say, "I just don't believe what she said about me," versus her credibility as a psychic, I guess. So after trying to explain herself to Lydia about the situation, trying to clear things up, like saying, I mean, I don't believe what she said about my relationship. Not that I don't believe in her abilities, which I feel like is a cop out anyway, because I feel like she doesn't believe her in both regard. Then Gina reveals that the distance in her relationship has become impossible and she will move on and end things. So Gina officially broke up with her boyfriend and now she is single. She does make it clear that her relationship ending has nothing to do with Jackie's reading, but more of the distance, and that it was going to be inevitable because he moved to another continent. So next we see Jackie and Ben talking to some party planners for their housewarming, and interesting, they want to do a Mexican theme. They don't want it to be like gimmicky of like the ponchos and the sombreros. They want it more upscale and classy, I guess, because they're celebrities and rock stars. So, and one of the reasons they said they wanted to do a Mexican theme was because Ben has a mustache that makes him look Mexican, and I'm like, can facial hair? You're white, just white people. I just can't. Ugh. But they want it more upscale with lots of tequila since they're about to start their own tequila brand. So that makes sense. As they walk around the house to figure out decorations, I guess the chef that the people hired comes in with some samples for the finger foods. And he's like, this will be gluten-free this, gluten-free that. And what is it? Jackie notices his accent. And she's like, "Oh, where's your accent from?" And he's like, "South Africa." She's like, "No, I think it's Zimbabwe." And he's like, "No, it's South Africa." And she's like, "Oh, well, like they're relatively the same." I'm like, it's two different countries. South Africa is at the bottom, and I think Zimbabwe might be West African. I could be wrong. I thought I was wrong. It actually is near South Africa, so maybe she might be right. But she is still a little bit ditzy in the scene. Or at least the editor tried to make it seem like she was very ditzy. She didn't know what she was talking about. So we get a cute scene of Lydia and her husband Andrew going to a market, I guess, on the other side of Australia or in another part of the country called Kings Island to get some cheese. This is a cute scene of her with her husband spending some alone time together, even though it's them flying their own plane just to to the countryside just to get some cheese. That's very bougie. And then we see Chica and Jackie meet up at one of Chica's brick and mortar that she just opened up. I think it's called Capital Kitchen. It looks really cute. She wanted to get some advice from Chica, who is a businesswoman, obviously, with brands and stuff like that. Just going into her new business. We now know that she's switching from just tequila to cocktails. So that's interesting. I feel like that's more of a variety. She said she had a psychic awareness that told her to switch ideas from tequila to the cocktail brand, and that the angels agreed. So her psychic abilities agreed to these plans. So as Chica is like showing her branding and like how and her business plan of how she came up with everything. And she's asking Jackie like correct questions about like, oh, what are you gonna do about this? What is your plan about this? Jackie's just oh, I'm just gonna let the angels tell me, or I put it on vision boards and I look at it every day and I know it's gonna happen. It's like, that's fun to think of ideas, but like, what is your concrete plan on moving forward with a business? So Chica's being a nice friend is not judging her, definitely asking her the right questions, but not judging her on how she's going to get her brand out there. But she does wish her the best of luck and hopes the business will succeed. She lets her know, like, one of the questions was, when did you want the brand to be out? And she tells Chica, she's like, oh, in a month. A month. Like, you don't really have a real business plan or real, like, nothing concrete down, and you want this all done in a month. Mind you, she also wanted a vow renewal and this housewarming. That's a lot. So we see Gina meeting up with Andrea at her home for a nice chat and some tea and crumpets and things. Gina tells her about the sit down, obviously, because once you have the sit down, you gotta go to everybody. If you don't do like, I feel like in American Housewives, when there's a sit down, they do like the retelling in groups, versus this one is kind of like, like people are going to everybody individually, like, oh, let me tell you, let me tell you, let me tell you, which is a little bit draining because it's like repeating the scene over and over again, but it gives the ladies opportunity to kind of like sit and bond individually, which is good. Well, as Gina's trying to explain her side of things, right, of like how Lydia must have misconstrued or misquote what she says, they keep saying Chinese whispers, which I would say it's a game of telephone. They're calling it Chinese whispers. I don't. So then Gina reveals that she was diagnosed with abdominal cancer and that she had a 35% chance of survival, which is very, very low. Thank goodness she's still with us. And that in her time of need, she was like hungry or looking or desperately looking for spiritual guidance. And through her spiritual journey, she learned that not all psychics are guided by God and angels, but possibly demonic spirits. So that's why Gina thinks that Jackie was speaking to a demon versus like her actual grandmother. And so instead of in that moment just like spewing that at Jackie, I feel like she could have like opened up and been like, I have been on a spiritual journey where I've learned that not all psychics are good psychics, or getting their readings from positive places and could be getting them from demons and such. Gina does get a bit emotional sharing the news because I'm sure it's not easy telling people that you have or had cancer. And so they bond over that, which is nice to see. Not so much animosity, but more bonding. It's the housewarming party. The guests are arriving. They're greeted with shots of tequila as soon as they walk in, which is nice because I was just on a Virgin cruise and they had a after party. And when you go into the club area, literally there was a guy with a tray of shots. So I literally just popped one in and got right to it. Okay, the first to arrive in order are Lydia and Andrea with some big ass gifts in their hand and a bottle of champagne to pop. Then they end up meeting Henry. We see Chica walk in with her present. And then we see Janet in all leather walking in. And then the last to join is Gina in her sparkly, lovely dress. So as guests arrive, we see Ben and Jackie start to open some of the gifts, because I don't know if everyone bought gifts, but the two people bringing the biggest gifts are like basically bragging about how they got the best gifts. I mean, they're big, so I guess they're the best. But in my opinion, they have the most offensive gifts. What they gifted Ben and Jackie were Native American headdresses, which is, I don't know if the Aborigine people in Australia had headdresses like that, but I know it to be Native American headdresses that you don't wear because they're sacred. Regardless of that, Jackie views it as angelic because she says that the feathers are from angels and angels are all around her, are always blessing her. And so she is obsessed with the gift. Then they open up Janet's gift, which is basically a bejeweled cross, which is lovely. And I think it's a great gift because you can, like, it's a nice decorative gift they could just put in their house for their new home. They opened Gina's gift. Gina says that she got it when she was in America, and it's in a little blue Tiffany box. So she's opened up all these different gifts in front of Andrea and Lydia, who have literally comments about every other gift that's not theirs. So when she opens up Gina's gift in the little blue box, Lydia's like, "Oh, it's from Tiffany's." And then, like, Andrea's joke is like, "No, it's not. Just because it's a blue box doesn't mean it's from Tiffany's." So they're laughing and joking about that. They open up Chica's box, and then obviously the peanut gallery has more to say about that, because it's like cooking items from her store, because it's called Capital Kitchen. So she has like, so she gives her some cooking items, for her kitchen, which is nice. But then they're like, "Oh, well, this feels like, just like a branded gift that she didn't even think of." And I'm like, I mean, she bought her a gift, right? Isn't that what the thought that counts? They're inside opening the gifts. Then we go outside. So it looks like they're on a terrace, and obviously everyone's a little bit sauced. And Andrea is like telling everyone, "Hey, Lydia has invited me and Jackie to her ski resort," da da da, which is great news for Janet, Chica, and Gina, because they're not the snow type. So it's good that I guess they're having separate trips, because one would prefer over the other. But it's definitely different for, like, housewife rules, I guess you would say, when they're doing like their home trip versus like their international trip or their tropical trip. So they're splitting it down the middle. So 3 girls are going in the snow, other 3 girls are going somewhere else. Then we see some fun, some dancing ensue on the inside, but we still see Gina, Janet, and Chica out on the terrace talking to Ben. And this is when Gina tells everyone that she's single and ready to mingle. And this comes out to a shock to obviously her friends, because they wanted her relationship to work out, which any friend would. They're a little sad and disappointed for her, but happy that she's made decisions for herself. Back on the dance floor, Jackie tries to use one of her industry friends as a witness for how popular her readings are with other celebrities that they have partied with. Lydia asks if she thought Gina was ready for her reading, because, like, even though people are always begging you to do a reading for them, do you think that Gina was ready for you to read her? Even though she asked, and I think Gina said yes in that moment. So if you say yes, she's going to tell you. But obviously, regardless of what was said, Gina wasn't ready for what Jackie was going to tell her. So after Lydia asked her, like, "Oh, do you think Gina was ready for a reading?" And Jackie responds with, "Well, she's your friend." And then Lydia retorts back with, "She's our friend, actually." But Jackie's like, "Well, she's not my friend, not yet." But I'm like, if she's not your friend, obviously you have to invite her for the sake of the TV show. But if she's not your friend, why did you invite her to the housewarming party? Andrea with her 2 cents as that Gina didn't want the reading, but Jackie thinks it's only because she didn't like the results. So for Jackie, it doesn't really matter if people are ready for the reading. It's just that people never like what they hear about her readings. So in my case, I feel like you should be more in tune with knowing that people don't want to hear what you have to say then, right? So they tried to go over again what was said to make sure that Lydia wasn't lying, because it seems like, because on Jackie's point of view, Gina is saying Lydia is lying about what was said. And Lydia is saying that Gina is lying about what was said. Now, it doesn't seem like Gina is not saying that she didn't say she didn't believe it. She's just trying to reposition or retell and say, "I don't believe what you said about my relationship. I never said I don't believe your abilities." Again, in the scene, it kind of felt like she meant both. But so back on the terrace, we see that Janet tells Gina and Chica that she has a date coming up on, I guess, that following Monday. And she wants them to come to her penthouse at the Windsor Fancy to help her get ready for her new date, since this is her first date after divorce. And, she wants her girlfriends to help out. And since these girls are not going in the snow, might as well go and help her girl out with her new date. So after that, we see Gina and Ben kind of have a conversation. So she's just having a regular conversation with Ben. Then that's when Jackie comes in, I guess, thinking that she's flirting with her husband, but I don't think that she would be flirting with anyone's husband, especially if she just broke up with a man she think cheated on her. But I digress. So once Jackie is in the mix, Now, Ben feels like this is the perfect time to bring up the situation between the two to try and get some resolve. Jackie then tells Gina that she called her see you next Tuesday because of the whole debacle and how she left the conversation, how she felt. She called her see you next Tuesday. And obviously that upsets Gina because who really wants to be called that by anybody? I mean, I remember the first time I heard that word in like 5th grade and I was like, oh my God. Like the reaction to being called that was like, oh my God, what the hell? I didn't even know what that was. I didn't have to go home and be like, Mom, what's a see you next Tuesday? After Jackie explains why she called her that and like obviously how she felt, Gina Gina tells her how like, oh well, it was the reading to me was no big deal. Says Jackie again because all her readings are a big deal to her. So Gina just being like, well, it's no big deal. I don't think she knows in that moment, but in her mind, it's no big deal. We're through now, so the relationship doesn't even matter. Ben jumps in defending Jackie, asking Gina, well, what if the shoe was on the foot, right? Well, what if you feel like someone was talking bad about you behind your back about what you did professionally? How would you feel? And so Gina admits she doesn't take what Jackie does as a serious profession, and things get a little bit heated, and they feel like they're not. And Ben feels like he's talking to a brick wall. So he leaves, backs out the conversation. As Jackie is trying to clear things with Gina about what was said, she calls Lydia over. I feel like her and Andrea were in the foreground listening because they seem nosy in their peanut gallery. So she calls over Lydia about the phone call, and Lydia obviously doubles down on what she said because she did say the words, I don't believe everything that Jackie says, even though she says, she has some credibility. Even though she said that, she still said, I don't believe all of what Jackie said. So she just has to admit to that and call it a day. Gina tries to re-explain herself about what she meant by saying that I don't believe what she said. She was trying to say, I don't believe what you said about my relationship. It's not that I don't believe in your abilities. After she's saying Lydia is misinterpreting her, we do get a quick scene of Janet, Chica, and Andrea kind of looking on to the conversation, weighing on what they think is happening. Andrea feels Gina chose the wrong time and place to discuss this, even though Ben was the one to bring it up. And so Chica is just like, listen, if this is the time to talk about it, let them hash it out. And hopefully this will be end all be all. Then Lydia saunters over to those group of ladies, tell them her side of the conversation, and basically that Gina is twisting her words and fibbing a little bit. And in her confessional, she calls her nasty pasty. Nasty pasty. Like, what is that? I know it's just so posh and proper, but I don't fucking know what a nasty pasty is. So Gina is telling Jackie, because Jackie's like, oh, are you lying or is she lying? She's like, she's not lying. She's just misquoting me, right? She's not misquoting you. She's telling you exactly what was said. She's misinterpreting you because now you're trying to give more meaning to the words versus what you actually said. Just like I don't think anyone is saying, I didn't say that I don't believe you. I said I don't believe you. I just don't believe what you said about my relationship. I didn't say I don't believe in your abilities. But in the moment, it felt like it was both. So that's how Lydia took it. That's what Jackie's taking it. Both Gina and Jackie still have not resolved things, and Gina leaves the party early. Gina wishes Lydia would clear things up more, I guess, on her behalf before gabbing to the rest of the group. I hope you enjoyed this video. I definitely enjoyed watching these episodes, and I'll be reviewing more in the future. So stay tuned for those videos. I'm still working on my Dynasty breakdown, so those are coming out soon. And me and my sister have a podcast called A Truly Wonderful Pair. You should check that out. I'll leave the link somewhere on the screen. We'll definitely have more episodes coming soon. We do our favorite show of the week. So share, like, subscribe, leave your opinions in the comments, and I'll see you in the next video.